When I was a young boy, I was maybe 4 years old. I was a big crybaby. Not just when I was 4 years old, well into my older years. But I remember an episode when I was about 4 years old when I learned of the concept of death. I thought to myself, one day, Hasbe Shalom, my mom would pass away, and I would be alone in the world. That really made me extremely unhappy. I was able to overcome that eventually. I was born in Houston, Texas, the youngest of four. I have two older brothers and one sister. But when we were small, probably about kindergarten age, my parents decided that we would move to Mexico. My dad's from New York, my mom's from Mexico. So we moved to Mexico to pursue the Mexican dream. Believe it or not, in Mexico in the early 90s, you could be well off and have nice schools and a nice house, and it was extremely safe. We would have a better life than we did in Houston, at least. So when I was young, we owned restaurants. My parents built restaurants and we ran restaurants. We actually lived at one of the restaurants on top, and we really enjoyed it a lot. But my dad would put us to work, doing all sorts of stuff in the restaurants, bussing tables and helping where we could. He really, really taught us to work from a very young age. Not in a labor camp, sweat camp kind of way, more in a, get my kids to do something kind of way. I had an older brother, his name was Bart, he was about 2 years older than me, and we really had a strong connection. Me and him had a very strong bond. It's hard to describe. I'm going to try to share that a little bit tonight. To give you an example, we slept in the same bed, in the same room, all of our lives, even into our teenage years. Despite having a house that had 6 or 7 bedrooms, we chose to sleep together. We would talk each other to sleep, and we were like 2 peas in a pod. Yes, we would fight, like everybody's siblings does, but he really took me under his wing and took care of me. My dad would entertain all of our entrepreneurial endeavors, whatever we concocted. Sometimes it would be selling snow cones outside of our house. Sometimes it would be me packaging little donuts to sell downtown for my mom's cafe. And eventually we graduated from those little endeavors, and we were teens, maybe 13 and 15, or he was maybe about 16. So we decided we would open a little restaurant. So we opened a little hamburger place called Crazy's Hamburgers, and my dad would help us build it out, furnish it, and we did it. We actually would get up every day, we'd buy the stuff and make bread from scratch and make patties, and that's, we made it work. We really enjoyed it a lot. We got to share a lot of time together during the day, all day and night practically. A few years later, fast forward, we moved to Texas, and in Texas, South Texas, we would pursue home building. Again, something that we would do as a family together. But within the year of us moving to Texas, my brother would come down with T-cell leukemia, one of the most aggressive forms of leukemia. So we moved to Houston, Texas to look for the best hospitals, get him the best treatment, and we really tried everything. Even a bone marrow transplant for me when I was about 15 years old. So, to no avail, he really deteriorated. I wasn't going to let a hospital keep me away from staying in the same room as my brother. We were accustomed to do that all along, and that's what I did. So I stayed there as long as I could. I would go in, I would come out, and eventually I saw my brother deteriorate before my eyes. Over the course of 8-10 months, he slowly died. Two of the things that really, really impacted me during this process of me seeing this experience, or at least episodes, were one time they would tell him he couldn't swim anymore. They installed a catheter in him, and he could no longer do something as simple as swimming. He asked me, maybe we can get a scuba diving outfit, or is there any kind of way I can do this? It wasn't an option. Another time is when they told him that because of the intense treatment, he was no longer going to be able to have kids. It really crushed his spirit. On one Thanksgiving night in the year 2000, he would pass away. My worst dream, my worst fears would come true. I would be left alone in the world without my brother. It was traumatic, to say the least. A part of me had died. I would spend the next 10 years of my life wandering through life, not having much purpose. Eventually, I stumbled across, some people say they found a religion, they found Christianity. Judaism found me. And I would all of a sudden have a religious experience, an eye-opening, awakening experience, not through any kind of tragic event or any kind of low in my life. I just happened to come across material. And I really had an aha moment. An aha moment that told me there's a creator in this world, and it's Hashem. And I would be motivated to follow everything, and I would turn around my life and now have a different purpose. I would now live an Orthodox lifestyle. I remember sitting my parents down and telling them, I think I'm going to become Hasidic or Jewish. I'm going to do something, with this newfound enlightenment. Sorry, I refer to my notes. So, I had a rabbi once ask me, what is more important, this world that we live in, which is Olam Hazeh, or the next world, Olam Haba? I answered, of course, Olam Haba is more important than this world. He told me, no, this world is the most important. Why? Because in this world, we have the ability to affect change. We can actually do mitzvot here. We can do something about stuff. The next world, we can no longer do that. When I had this awakening spiritually, I no longer felt that a part of me had died. I no longer felt that my brother was lost forever. I felt that he was there all along. I felt that this was the big plan, and it was Hashem's will. Now I would dedicate the rest of my life to doing good acts, helping out in my community, and elevate my brother's neshama as much as I could. I challenge everybody to do just that. We've all had somebody that we've lost. We can do acts of kindness. We can affect change in this world. We can make this world a better place, at the very least in the memory of somebody else who no longer can. I'll close with this. Whether my father knew it or not, in the Talmud, a Jewish father has a responsibility to teach his children two things: to swim, so they should not drown, and to make a living for himself. So it goes as far as to say that if he doesn't teach his child how to make a living, it's like he's teaching him how to steal. So he's here tonight, my father and my mother, and I owe them Hakrak Tov. And I'd like to close with that. Thank you very much. This is my story.